Make measurable progress in reasonable time. Don't confuse movement with achievement. It's not about running in circles faster. It's about taking steps that count. Success isn't built in a day, but it is built daily. Every week, every month, you should be able to look back and say, I am further ahead than I was before. Measure it, track it, improve it, because small, consistent progress beats big, inconsistent bursts every single time. You see, too many people wear themselves out chasing the feeling of being busy, but never stop to ask, am I actually moving closer to what I want? They sprint without a map, they work without a plan, and they call it progress. But movement without direction is just exhaustion disguised as effort. You can run the fastest race of your life, but if the track is a circle, you'll end up right back where you started. True progress is not about how much you do, it's about how much you advance. It's not how many hours you spend awake, it's how much those hours actually push you forward. Some people spend 10 years repeating the same year, never improving, never evolving. And yet, they tell themselves they've been working hard. Hard work without growth is like pouring water into a cracked jar. It never fills. The key is measurable progress, not vague progress, not, I feel like I'm doing better. If you're building a bridge, you don't guess if it's longer today than yesterday. You measure it. And if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. That's why so many people drift through life, because they've never set a clear point of arrival, and they've never checked their compass along the way. Reasonable time is just as important. It's not about rushing. It's about pacing yourself so you can sustain the climb. Some mountains are not meant to be conquered in a day, but every day should take you one step higher. Progress is not always dramatic. It's often slow, quiet, and unglamorous, but that's what makes it powerful. The oak tree doesn't grow overnight. The sculptor doesn't finish in an afternoon. The greatest works of life are built by those who master the art of steady advancement. Ask yourself, when was the last time you looked at your life and could prove you've moved forward? Not just in hope, not just in feeling, but in fact. If you were to put your life on paper, could you see the line rising, or would it be flat? Could you honestly say, I am closer to my vision than I was 6 months ago? Or have you been busy polishing the same spot on the same floor, convincing yourself it's progress because your hands are moving? Progress requires clarity. Clarity requires vision. And vision requires that you know exactly where you're going and how far you've come. Without those three, you're a ship without a compass, moving but lost. It's not enough to want a better life. You have to measure the building of it. You have to see your own transformation, and that's not going to happen by accident. It happens when you turn discipline into your daily companion, when you track your steps like a watchman guarding a city, and when you refuse to let days slip away without leaving evidence of your climb. Small steps, reasonable time, relentless consistency. That's the formula, not chaos, not bursts of inspiration that vanish like smoke, but the deliberate stacking of bricks, one on top of the other, until one day you look up and the tower is standing. Not because you rushed, not because you were lucky, but because you measured your progress, respected the time, and never stopped moving forward. The trap of false progress. One of the greatest dangers in life is mistaking activity for advancement. There's a seductive feeling in being busy. The mind loves it, because as long as you're in motion, you can tell yourself you're getting somewhere. You wake up early, you rush through the day, you collapse at night, and you say, I worked hard today. But if I asked you, what did you actually build? What got completed? What moved forward? Many would fall silent. Imagine a farmer who spends every day running through his fields, kicking dirt, moving stones, shouting orders, but never planting a single seed. He will sweat, he will ache, but when the season changes, he will have nothing to harvest. That is the reality for many. Their days are full, but their results are empty. The reason is simple. Their actions are not aligned with a clear, measurable goal. Without that, effort scatters like leaves in the wind. It looks like movement, but it produces nothing lasting. Think of a builder with no blueprint. Every day, he stacks bricks in different corners, changes his mind, moves walls, tears down yesterday's work to start again. At the end of the year, he has piles of bricks, but no house. That's what life without measured progress looks like. The first step toward making measurable progress in reasonable time is to stop worshiping busyness and start honoring effectiveness. That means asking yourself every single day, is this task taking me closer to my vision, or is it just filling time? Not all work is equal. Some actions are powerful levers that move your life forward. Others are sand. They drain your energy but add nothing to the structure you're building. The wise don't just work hard, they work right. If you want to measure progress, you must know what you're measuring. You cannot count better or more unless you have something solid to compare it to. Without a target, there is no scoreboard. And without a scoreboard, there is no victory, just endless running. So, step one in building a life of measurable progress. Define your endpoint. Not a vague dream, but a clear result. If you can't describe it in detail, you can't track it. And if you can't track it, you will waste your years running without arriving. The power of small, countable wins. Progress isn't always loud. In fact, the most reliable kind is almost invisible at first. A sculptor doesn't strike the marble with one mighty blow and see the masterpiece appear. He chips away piece by piece, stroke by stroke. To the untrained eye, it looks like nothing is happening for days, weeks, even months. But the sculptor knows. Every chip is bringing the vision into form. That's how life works. Small, consistent wins may seem unimpressive in the moment, but they stack. And stacking is what builds greatness. One day of good choices changes nothing. 1 week of discipline barely shows. But 6 months? A year? Now you've built something that others will call overnight success, when in truth it was the quiet accumulation of many victories no one saw. The secret is to make each win countable, not, I think I did well today, but I wrote 500 more words than yesterday. Not, I worked hard, but I finished 2 more chapters, learned 3 more skills, lifted 5 more pounds, saved 10 more coins. When progress is countable, it becomes undeniable. There's no debate, no illusion, only fact. Why is this so powerful? Because the mind thrives on proof. If all you have is hope, motivation will rise and fall like the wind. But if you can look at your results, written down, measured, undeniable, you can anchor yourself in certainty. You can silence doubt. Small wins also keep you moving in reasonable time. If you only chase massive leaps, you'll burn out in the sprint and quit before the marathon. But if you collect small, countable victories, the journey becomes sustainable. You don't need to conquer the whole mountain in a day. You just need to reach the next ledge, then the next, then the next. The wise understand that measurable progress is built like a staircase. Each step is small, but it carries you higher. The foolish try to jump from the ground to the top floor in one leap, and when they fall short, they call the climb impossible. So ask yourself, what small, measurable win can I secure today? Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, then record it, guard it. Let it stand as proof that you are further than you were before. Do this every day, and you'll look back in 6 months and realize you've moved further than others have in 6 years. The role of time as a silent partner in success. Time is not your enemy. The impatient see time as an obstacle, a barrier between them and the life they want. But the wise know, time is a silent partner in every great achievement. It's the soil in which your seeds take root. It's the unseen current that carries the small efforts of today into the great outcomes of tomorrow. We live in a world that often celebrates speed, the fastest runner, the quickest result, the immediate transformation. But speed without foundation is dangerous. A tree that grows too quickly without deep roots will topple in the first storm. A building constructed in haste will crumble under its own weight. True progress respects the seasons. It understands that some things cannot be forced without destroying their potential. Reasonable time doesn't mean slow, it means sustainable. It means pacing your steps so you can endure the journey without collapsing before the finish line. It's not about delaying results, but about allowing results to mature. If a farmer planted a seed today and dug it up tomorrow to check its growth, he would kill it. Yet, many do the same in life, starting something and then demanding instant proof before the work has had time to bear fruit. Time also acts as a filter. It separates the serious from the casual, the committed from the curious. Many begin with excitement, only to fade when they realize the work must be repeated again and again, day after day. But those who understand the role of time embrace the repetition. They know that what is done consistently over weeks and months will produce a strength and mastery that no shortcut can match. When you respect time, you stop trying to beat the clock and start using it wisely. You no longer waste hours on distractions because you understand that every day is a brick in the wall you're building. Miss too many bricks and the wall collapses. Lay one brick each day with care, and over time, you'll have a fortress. Remember this: time can either multiply your progress or magnify your mistakes. If you spend months repeating the wrong actions, time will not save you. It will only show you how far you've gone in the wrong direction. That's why measurable progress is essential. It tells you if the time you've invested is actually building something or simply passing by. So, honor time. Work with it, not against it. Make it your ally. Because when progress is steady and time is respected, even the tallest mountains become climbable. Tracking your journey with precision. If you cannot see your progress, you will doubt it. And when you doubt it, you will stop. That is why tracking your journey is not a suggestion. It is a requirement. Progress is not a vague feeling you carry in your mind. It is something you can prove. Think of a craftsman building a ship. He doesn't just feel like the hull is coming together. He can point to the beams that are now in place, the planks that are now sealed, the sails that are now ready. There is evidence. In life, we often lose sight of how far we've come because the climb feels endless. Day by day, the changes are too small to notice, but when recorded, they become visible, and visibility fuels motivation. Without this proof, many abandon the journey too soon, convinced they are getting nowhere, when in fact, they are standing on a hill they've already climbed. Tracking with precision means deciding what matters most and recording it consistently. If your goal is strength, you don't just work out, you record how much weight you lifted last week versus today. If your goal is skill, you don't just practice, you track how many new techniques you mastered this month compared to the last. If your goal is wealth, you don't just work hard, you measure exactly how your savings or earnings have grown. The form of tracking doesn't matter as much as the discipline behind it. A leather-bound journal, a simple notebook, a set of carved tallies on wood, the method is secondary. What matters is that you can look back and see the numbers climb, the milestones passed, the evidence that you are moving forward. There's a deeper benefit too. Tracking forces honesty. It strips away self-deception. Many people believe they are improving simply because they are busy. But when the numbers are written down, the truth is revealed. Either you are further ahead or you are not. And that truth, however sharp it feels, is the foundation of real progress. Without tracking, you will always be at the mercy of your mood. Some days you will feel like you're doing great, and some days you will feel like you're failing, but feelings are not facts. A builder does not guess whether the wall is taller today. He measures it. Do the same with your life. Precision tracking turns time into a visible ally. It gives you something powerful to stand on when doubt comes. It allows you to say, with certainty, I am not where I was. And that certainty is what keeps you climbing when the summit is still far away. The discipline of consistency over inspiration. Inspiration is a spark. It's thrilling, it's energizing, but it is not enough to finish the work. If you rely on inspiration to move forward, your progress will be like the wind, strong one day, gone the next. The builders of great legacies did not rise because they were inspired every day. They rose because they moved forward whether they felt like it or not. They understood that the emotion to act is not as important as the decision to act. Think of the blacksmith at his forge. He cannot wait for the perfect mood to strike before lifting his hammer. If he did, the metal would grow cold and unworkable. Instead, he swings the hammer at the right time, every time, because he knows that mastery comes from repeated strikes, not from the occasional blast of passion. Consistency is the engine of measurable progress. When you show up every day, even on the days when the fire feels dim, you build momentum that no single burst of energy could replace. And momentum is a powerful force. It carries you forward even when the path grows steep. Those who depend on bursts of motivation live in cycles, a week of intense action, followed by a month of drift. They take one giant leap forward, then slide back to where they began. But those who embrace discipline move forward in a steady line. Even if their steps are small, they are never lost, because they never stop. When you commit to consistency, time becomes your ally, and results become inevitable. The woodcutter does not fell the tree with one mighty swing. He does it with 100 steady strikes. And so it is with life. Greatness is not one act, but many acts, repeated faithfully over time. The question is not, can you act when you're inspired? That's easy. The real question is, can you act when you're tired, bored, discouraged, or unseen? If you can, your progress will not only be measurable, it will be unstoppable. So, make measurable progress in reasonable time. That's not just a slogan. It's a way of living that separates the dreamers from the builders. You've learned that movement without direction is waste, that small wins compound into great victories, that time is an ally when you respect it, that tracking is your proof, and that consistency outlasts every fleeting burst of inspiration. Now it's your turn. Ask yourself, what will I measure? Because if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. What will I commit to daily? Because if you cannot repeat it, you cannot sustain it. And what will I remove from my life that slows the climb? Because if you keep carrying dead weight, you'll never reach the summit. Progress is not for the impatient nor for the half-hearted. It's for those who will rise each morning with the quiet determination to take one more step, to lay one more brick, to strike the hammer one more time. Someday, you'll look back and see the trail you've carved through the mountains of your life. The markers will be there. Proof that you didn't just move, you advanced. And when others ask how you did it, you won't talk about luck or inspiration. You'll tell them about discipline, about tracking, about time, and about the relentless choice to move forward. So start today. Choose your first measurable step. Take it, record it, repeat it tomorrow, and keep going until the day your progress speaks louder than your words.